You are listening to the Make Space podcast, episode number 42.
Home, home, just wanna go, home, home, back home. I've been gone for way too long. Home, home, just wanna go, home, home. I'm on my way back home.
Welcome to Make Space, a home design show made to inspire you to create spaces you truly feel at home in. Cara Newhart sits down with amazingly brilliant guests for conversations that dive deeper than pin-worthy rooms to tease out the essentials of creating spaces that feed your soul and inspire your creativity. From home design strategies to decor advice to interior design tips and tricks, these conversations help you dream up a beautifully lived-in home. Cara is the designer and chief creative enthusiast behind Never Skip Brunch. Her work has been featured in print publications like People Style Watch and Denver Style Magazine. As an influencer, Cara has collaborated with brands like Amazon, H&M, Twitter, and Thrillist. Here's your host, Cara Newhart.
Did you miss me? You guys, I know it has been such a long time. Things have been wild over here, if you couldn't tell. I know a lot of you have been following along on Instagram, but basically what happened is I took 3 weeks off the podcast for furniture flip because Jesse and I were flipping 3 pieces of furniture. We took on way too much. We're very optimistic about how much we can tackle. And then 3 weeks, I needed like a break after that. And 3 turned to 4, turned to 5, turned to the holidays, and then January. But you guys, I think I finally have it back together, for real. I have so many amazing guests lined up, like literally so amazing. I'm fangirling so hard that they're giving me an hour of their time. So we are diving back in, and we are diving back in strong. And I also have a virtual assistant now whose name is Lindsay, and she has changed my life. So I'm back. I'm sorry to keep you hanging and make you feel like I ghosted you, but we are diving back into all things home design and DIY. I appreciate your patience and all of you that have been supporting me on Instagram and begging for me to get my butt back here in this chair with this microphone. And here we are. #obsessed. So this week, I'm really going for the low-hanging fruit in terms of what I'm obsessed with, but it is my new spice rack. A lot of you saw this on the blog and Instagram, but basically spices were stored in a tiny cabinet in my house, falling on my head. So I decided to take this essentially dead space, like 6 inches of wall, like a 6-inch nook, a tall wall, it's about like 2 feet wide, and make a spice rack built in that is so adorable. I got these jars off Amazon, these custom labels off Etsy, built the whole thing, put my favorite wallpaper and some gold bars on the front, and it turned out amazing. I think it's like one of the projects I'm most excited about because it's like very functional and also beautiful. Not that most of my projects aren't functional, but this one like started from a place of pure function. Like I don't want spices to fall on my head anymore. So if you haven't seen that, you could go check it out. I think Jesse's planning to do one next to her fridge. So if you look at it and you're like, I don't have wall space for that, stay tuned because Jesse's doing one that like pulls out from the side of your fridge. So yes, that is what I am obsessed with this week. It's funny because my husband does most of the cooking around here, so it's really for him, but still, I am in love. Time to talk trends. Curveball. Yep, I'm switching up the Wait What segment to Trend Talk. So basically, I want to discuss like popular trends that are happening, social media viral trends that I'm seeing on TikTok, and break down some tips for them or call them out for being BS. So that's the plan for this new segment. And this week, I want to talk about arched doorways. So arched doorways are a beautiful architectural element. It's a way to add interest, and they are totally coming back. So I've seen a lot of people on TikTok trying to reframe their doorways to be arched. A lot of people are cutting arches out of plywood. They are scoring the back of their drywall to arch it, doing the whole process, and they're turning out really great. I just love like the added interest. I think it gives your house so much character. I feel like our 2020 homes are going to have like as much character as the 1900s homes with all these built-ins and different architectural details. Maybe they were also bored and found time to do all these DIY projects and add character to their homes. Not sure. But basically, I'm loving this trend, and I just did kind of a hack for it on my coffee bar. So what I did is, instead of like cutting a curve out of plywood with a jigsaw and trying to get that all even and then using drywall, I used some corbels, which, if you're not sure what corbels are, it's basically the little thing that goes in the corner that's kind of like arched on one side and then has like a right angle that goes up into the corner. So I used 2 of those and then put a 2x4 in between them to kind of bridge the gap. And then I painted it and caulked it and blended it with the rest of the trim. So it is like an arched doorway with trim instead of drywall and tackling that whole intense process of installing a drywall arch. Both look absolutely beautiful. They are different aesthetics, and I probably will be tackling a drywall arch soon. But I wanted to give you this hack because if you're thinking about trying it out, this is a way that's a lot easier. Like the trim is way easier to remove down the line because it's just a couple screws. So if you want to try it out, you don't have all these power tools. You have a simple saw and a sander. That is all you need, and you're going to be doing straight cuts, no crazy arches. So hop over to Instagram if you're interested in that. And if you're just hearing about this trend, look around. I would go on Pinterest and look for arched doorways and see if this trend is for you, because I think 2021, it's definitely coming back. I'm seeing it pick up so much traction within the past few weeks, and I think it's really fun. So that is the trend talk for this week. So this week, I wanted to sit down and have like a DIY conversation, because next week we're sitting down with this amazing interior designer. She designs luxury design, and she has all these tips for how to bring luxury into your life in a way that's affordable. So that'll be so much fun, but more focused on like buying things and curating things versus building things. So I wanted to have a conversation about DIY and diving in. I know this is something that through quarantine, so many people have found. Being stuck in your house, you find what doesn't work. We did a whole episode on that and how to really unpack all of that. But people have turned to DIY as a way to keep themselves entertained, to fix what isn't working, and to just give them something to do and something to feel like proud of, and a reason to stay home. Along with that, I think I've seen this question coming up more and more, and it's a question I always get, but I'm seeing it more frequently recently. I don't know if that's just because I'm reaching like totally new people on TikTok that haven't really seen DIY before and don't really have a concept of like what epic home reno DIY looks like. I think a lot of people think DIY is like hot glue gun crafts, which it totally is too, but my brand of DIY is definitely a little more extra. We're ripping out sheetrock and whatnot. But anyway, the question, so much lead up here. Sorry, the question is, how do you get started? And it usually comes with a twist of, I could never do something like this. How did you learn? How did you how did you teach yourself? And I've decided I'm going to do a whole episode like unpacking my story and how I specifically got started, because it turns out I've never done that on the show, which is strange. We just kind of skipped over that, like who I am and why I'm here. But I was thinking about this, and I'm thinking about all the people telling me I could never do that. I can't afford the tools. I'm scared. I don't have help. And so I really wanted to have a conversation around fear. Because if you look at my profile picture on Instagram, I'm wearing our Let's DIY Big crop top that we launched, and in big letters it says Fearless DIYer. And I wanted to just like unpack what that really means, because it's like a fun slogan and it looks like a great thing to say if you're like empowering women, like fearless, yeah. But what does that actually mean when it comes to diving into DIY? Because the reality is, like, you're using power tools. You cannot just dive in without care and just do it however you want because you will lose a finger. Like, there's strategy to being fearless. And so I wanted to have that conversation and unpack that like way deeper than I think it looks on surface level. So number one, I was thinking like, why are people scared? Like, yes, you're probably a little bit scared that you'll get hurt, but that's not why most people are scared. When I'm having these conversations, what I'm hearing is that they're scared they'll fail. They're scared that they will spend all this money and the project won't work out, or they're scared that they don't know what they're doing, or they're scared of judgment. So those are like the three biggest fears, I think, in DIY. And all of that, the judgment, not knowing what you're doing, feeling incompetent, or feeling like you're going to mess up, just kind of boils down to a big fear of failure. Like, fear that you will fail. You will try DIY and you'll fail in some way. And I think being fearless, in essence, is redefining what failure means. So I don't think it's looking at it like, I will just dive in and I will not give a care. It is really embracing failure as a part of the learning process. So a quote that we sent out with this recent Let's DIY Big box, we had this postcard, and on the back was this quote that you could frame and put on your wall, because we wanted to make the postcard usable, not just a pack-in that you're going to throw away. And the quote said, "Feel the fear and do it anyway." So it's not that you're not afraid, it's that you have reframed what it means in your mind and you can do it anyway. So here's how to do that, because I know that sounds very abstract, especially when we're talking about like hands-on DIY projects. So think of it this way. All failure is when we have an expectation and a result that don't match up. That's actually all it is. You expected something to go one way, you wanted something to go one way, and it turned out different. So according to your expectations, that was a failure. Or according to the expectations you think people have for you, that's a failure. So that's the judgment piece. But the magic is in redefining that as not a failure, but a lesson. And I know that that is like self-help 101 or like entrepreneurship 101 is like, failure is just a lesson in disguise. But it is, like it really is, because when you mess up, when you have things that turn out not as you expected, that is exactly how you learn. If things always go as you expect, you already know everything because you expect something, it comes out the way you expect according to what you already know. So failing is just the universe being like, I don't think you have it all together yet. Like, look at this possibility that you didn't see coming. And a lot of times it feels painful, or it feels like, oh man, that project, I totally messed it up. Oh man, this like is so crooked and it looks so bad. But really, all that happened is that you learned the way that you chose to do that project was not the way to get to the outcome you want. So the secret to all of this, the secret to not being afraid and to not messing up so much, number one is caring a little bit less. And I know that's easier said than done, but I think if you can get yourself to a place where you're really embracing this as a journey of like creativity, of expressing your personal style, and of teaching yourself new things, and that's how you approach it, not I want to recreate this Pinterest image in my space and I want it to look the exact same, that is going to set you up for failure. But if you really embrace like, okay, I'm expressing my style, I am teaching myself new things like that I can do with my hands, new ways to build things, and I'm expressing my creativity, then there's no such thing as failure. There's just, you're starting out, you're okay at it, you're learning, and then you get good. And that is anything in life. Like when you first start out, you suck. If I look back on the videos or even my first podcast that I ever did, it's pretty horrible. It's not good. But that wasn't a failure. That's not something that I'm like, oh, we have to delete it. It was horrible. It doesn't work. It was just not as good as now. So number one, reframe your brain. Approach it as a creative process, a journey where you're just experimenting. You are just trying new things. And if you can approach it with that mindset of like, I don't know what I'm doing, but like, let's give it a try. Let's see what happens. That curiosity, that is so satisfying, first of all, because the journey of like curiosity and exploration is fun in and of itself. But also, you're going to get to conclusions and you're going to get to results like a different way than you expected, but it will still happen for you. So, number one, reframe that mindset and kind of find what that means for you. Like, what needs changed about how you're approaching DIY projects in your home? Are you scared of what people will think? Are you scared that you'll mess up and things will look bad? Are you scared of wasting money? Or are you scared that you don't know enough? Because all those things are fixable, and fixable through trial and error, and also through the second piece, which is learning. So a lot of fear comes from the fact that you don't know what you don't know. So if I'm doing a project, there could be all these curveballs. So the best way to explain this is like when you're watching HGTV and they like take the sheetrock off a wall and they're like, oh no, look at the studs, it's load bearing, we need a header, we can't just rip it down. So that's not knowing what you don't know. You look at the wall and you don't know what the next step is because you don't know what's back there. And so we have this idea that we have to know before we start. Like we have to know what's going to happen with that wall before we can take the sheetrock off. But the reality is you have to learn along the way. You have to take that drywall down to see what the next step is. And then you might have to go research what the next step is. Not that I'm advising you should remove load-bearing walls without a professional. Please be clear, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, with DIY and with home projects, you have to learn along the way. There's no possible way you can sit down, learn everything you need to know, plan the whole project out beforehand. You have to be able to pivot and learn as you go. So what this looks like in real time is doing the next right thing. So you decide on a project, you plan it as much as you can with the knowledge you have, with the research you're doing, and then when a surprise comes up, aka what some people would consider a problem, but when a surprise arises where you're like, oh, okay, this is different than my plan, I don't know how to do this, then you just go back and you just adjust the plan. So you spend an hour on YouTube learning. You redraw your plan to incorporate this thing that was unexpected. And so this process of pivoting, of letting yourself experiment and be creative along the way is what's going to get you to the result. So it's not this like rigid, I learned everything I need to know and I made the perfect plan and then I followed it. It's this very like adaptability, I guess is the best way to put it. Like all along the way, you're making changes. Maybe a paint color didn't work out and so we're pivoting. Maybe this texture that you wanted to add to the wall isn't sticking. And the reality is like your project is unique. So no matter how much YouTube you watch, they are never going to break down your specific project for you step by step. It's something that you have to piece together from different videos, gathering that knowledge, and it's something that you have to try. Like you have to dive in and do this and then make the next right step. So I hope this conversation didn't get too like theoretical for you there, like too abstract, but what it boils down to is practically learn everything you possibly can before you start, but accept and embrace the mindset that you're never going to know it all. You're never going to know everything that could go wrong, and you're going to have to change your plan. And as long as you know that going in, then there's not going to be failure. It's not going to be, oh, this didn't go according to plan, I failed. It's going to be, oh, weird, I did not know this. Like, let's learn. Let's take time to learn. And that is the magic. And I think the best way to describe why it's so much better to do it this way is that I could give you a book about swimming. You could read that book cover to cover. You could memorize the book. But if I were to throw you in a lake, because I'm so mean, then that knowledge would only take you so far. There might be pieces of it that you use, like things you recall and things you're like, oh, I need to do this, like kick my legs or move my arms. But like you're thrown into a lake, you don't have time to go through the whole book in your head and find the right technique. You have to do it. Like you have to actually have the experience of learning to swim And DIY is the exact same way. You can watch a million YouTube videos, you can binge this entire podcast, you can stay tuned with every single project I ever do on Instagram, and you are still not going to be ready to do a project until you've started doing it and you are learning along the way about that specific project. So I hope you're seeing how, like, the fear people have and the concept of failure that you may have around DIY, around home projects, because it does feel intimidating. There's power tools, there's, regulations on what you can do with your house. There's safety elements like electricity and plumbing, and we don't want to be shocked or flooded. And so it can feel intimidating for sure. But you have to reframe how you're approaching it, and that fear goes away when you start recognizing failure as just an unexpected outcome versus something that is your fault or caused by your incompetence. Like, you're not incompetent, you're not dumb, you just don't yet know what you need to know to do this. And so that being said, we're also not diving into the biggest, most epic, most expert level project day one. Like, we're not going to start rewiring things and adding outlets if we've never even changed a light fixture before. So your skills do need to build on each other, and there is like this sequence of learning that needs to happen where each project, each thing you learn is building on what you already know, that body of experience and knowledge that you've already established. So obviously, don't look at some of the epic projects I'm doing and be like, I'm gonna just dive in and do that right now, if you haven't given yourself time to learn and try new things. Like when I first started, I was scared to use a saw. Like, legitimately, I wanted to make this shelf with this mirror that was like round but kind of like sat in the shelf so you could see it on the bottom and the top. So I had to cut this notch, and I was terrified. Like, I called my father-in-law, and like he cut it for me. I was scared because I didn't know what I was doing. And so there's no way that girl could have like dove in and created this spice rack or created like, the coffee bar that had new outlets and tile and all this stuff. Like, she had to go through making those chunky, now I consider ugly shelves to learn. And I think if you accept that, and then you also let yourself experiment in a way that makes sense for you. So if you are worried about cost, like, look for low cost projects that are going to teach you things. Like, start with the cheapest pine 2x4 projects that you can find. So you practice using a saw and a sander, and you practice your joinery. And then when you get good, you can start investing in more expensive wood, in walnut and hardwoods and oak, because you know that you know what you're doing and you know how to pivot if you make a mistake, and you're not going to be wasting money. And so all it is like embracing it as a journey, navigating, building your body of knowledge, and growing both your skill set and the level of projects and even your tools as you go. So don't go out day one and buy, the most expensive top of the line tools. Start with crappy tools. Start with cheap tools. Like, Ryobi is amazing because they're affordable. They all use the same battery. You can upgrade what you need as you need it. And honestly, like, I still build all kinds of things with Ryobi all the time because I genuinely believe that it's not the tool, it's the maker. And I think if you can learn how to do things, it doesn't really matter what tool you use. Obviously, tools make it easier. There's things I've chosen to upgrade because I use so frequently that they just work better. But embracing that journey is the key. It's the secret. It is all you need to do, is reframe that fear, reframe your concept of failure, and get excited about a journey of creativity. And then you'll be where I'm at in literally no time. One of the most challenging parts of DIY is pushing yourself to try new things and grow your skills. My DIY bestie Jessie and I wanted to make that easier. We had this wild idea to launch a DIY sampling box. We wanted to fill it with all kinds of our favorite products and new things for you to try, so you can explore new techniques and grow your skills as you dive into new projects. This box is called the Let's DIY Big Box, and our first launch sold out in under 3 hours. Boxes launch quarterly, and we send a notification first to our early access list. So if you want to get on this list so you can sign up to get access before they sell out, head over to letsdiybig.com and sign up to get notified. This project has been so much fun. We love connecting you with new brands, new things to try, and watching as everyone opens the box and explores it and is inspired to try new things. We are so amazingly blessed to have this community, and if you want to get plugged in, head over to Instagram at Let's DIY Big.
Home, home, I'm on my way back home.
Love this episode? Leave a comment on the blog post or use hashtag MakeSpacePodcast to share your thoughts. If this is your first time listening in, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay updated with the newest episodes. If you're a subscriber and you love the show, be sure to rate, review, or screenshot and share your favorite episode on social.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.